What's the challenge this week against a defense that doesn't have like a lot of big name talent on it, but they played pretty well just about across the board?
Well, Brown and Zero, both those guys are pretty good players up front. We got to do a really good job blocking those guys. They may not have a ton of sacks, but they disrupt a lot of plays, and you have to be aware of them at all times. Their DBs, very veteran group, so you can see they play with intelligence. They play together. They do a good job eliminating explosive plays, things like that. So it's going to be one of those games where we just have to do a good job executing because they're not going to give you those big plays all the time. So just execute down the field and take what they give you.
What have you thought of the way Sean Ryan's played kind of sparingly, and is it a consideration to give him more, or do you kind of like that?
He's gotten more the last few weeks. I think last week was probably the most he's played. But I like where he's at a lot. He's doing a good job. And I also like where John's at too. So I kind of like the groove we have going with both of those guys, keeping them fresh and giving Sean game reps and things like that. So, yeah, I think we'll kind of keep going with what we're doing right now just to keep those guys involved in the game for sure.
So what have you learned about him?
I like what I see in the run game. He's got physicality at the point of attack. He still has some things to work on fundamentally, and just a young player learning how to play in the NFL. So he's got a little ways to go, but I like his physicality. I like his style of play and how he goes about his business.
Your red zone was pretty good to start the season and struggled here down the stretch.
Yeah.
What's kind of gone wrong in that part?
Yeah, you go through it every week. I was disappointed to start off the game when we went down. We took it down there, and then we got stopped on a short yardage play, and then we missed a throw on fourth down. So it just comes down to us executing and doing a better job there. And then we had 2 drives where we scored touchdowns, and so it's just a matter of us going out there and executing. You always look at the game plans and things you can do better with the scheme and all that stuff. So there's that, and then just us going down there and executing and just making sure when the plays are there, we take it, because it's hard to throw the ball down there. Obviously, condensed field, so you just got to make sure you lean on the run game, and then when you get those opportunities to throw the ball, when you have the plays, you got to make them.
With A.J. Dillon, is it functionality of the thumb that would prevent him from playing, or is it pain?
It's both. Yeah, it's both. Him, as a player, you want to be confident that when you're out there, you're not going to make things worse. Obviously, you want to have the confidence that you can play through the pain, whatever it is, and then functionality of, am I going to be able to do my job, whether it's running back, catch the ball, hold on to the ball, block, that sort of stuff. If a defender hits me while I'm carrying the ball, how's that going to feel? So it's just all those things going through it. And our trainers and him have done a really good job kind of experimenting with different things. So he's been out there working through it, and hopefully we get him out there on Sunday.
Sort of feel like you'll have more of Aaron Jones than what you had this past week now that he made it through.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Yeah. He's obviously a very big piece of this offense, so getting him out there, he's been running the ball really well this week. He looks fresh and looks good, so yeah, I'm pumped up to have him out there.
I think his first carries, he was like up to 35 yards, By the second half, did Tampa make adjustments to some of the things you were using Aaron on?
Yeah, there were some things in the second half. I don't want to get into why we didn't really get into or give him the ball more, but yeah, I would have, looking back at that game, I definitely would have liked to get him more involved. We came out hot, run the ball. I think we had like 40 yards rushing on the first drive, and then we kind of didn't really get into it as the game went on. Now, we had success in other areas throwing the ball. I thought we did a pretty decent job, but yeah, that was one thing. Looking back, I wish we could have gotten him some more touches for sure.
With that said, though, I mean, the guy's coming off a 3-game absence from a sprained MCL, and he's got 8 carries his first drive. I don't know if that was the plan or not, but that's a lot for an opening drive. So does that factor in, like, okay, let's not wear his knee out right after.
No, I think going in, you know, we had the mindset of like, hey, let's just play him and let's go. So, no, I don't think that had anything to do with that. There were some other factors that factored into it.
Hey Steno, when you guys are getting ready for the draft, how much as an offensive coordinator do you watch film of potential prospects? How does that work logistically?
A lot of film, yeah. You kind of, we're not like the personnel people that, you know, literally watch everybody.
Right.
They kind of give us, all right, here's the group that we want your opinion on. So we watch it, give them our opinion, how we think we could use them, how they fit in our offense, you know, whatever it may be, what we think their role is when they show up. So that's kind of we're more of a narrow focus as opposed to like the personnel people evaluating everybody.
All right, so I'm curious if a couple of guys were in the group that you were given, okay? Like, was Reed, because I didn't watch him throughout college, but I watched him kick the hell out of the Badgers. He threw a touchdown, he caught a touchdown. Like, I remember that game pretty vividly. Did you get a look at him before the draft?
Yep.
So did you have a inkling of all the different things? I mean, he's, what, one catch shy of Sterling Sharp
Yeah.
for the franchise record for rookie catches.
I know. I saw that stat the other day. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. Yes and no. Like, you never know. You know a guy's a dynamic player when you watch him. You can interview him and kind of get a gauge on the guy's personality, talk to their coaches, whatever it is, and just see how he is, you know, operating in a football environment. But then you never know until you get the guy in the building, you see what kind of person he really is. And he is just such a tough, hardworking kid that has so much potential and so much skill set that, you know, we're very lucky to have him here for sure. And he has a long way to go, and he's got so much he can improve on. But I think the future is super bright for him, and I'm really excited for him.
And Wicks was a 5th round pick. I don't know
Yeah.
how far down you guys go looking at prospects, but was he a guy that you were aware of too, or was he not?
Yeah, we watched him. I remember when we ended up drafting him, Coach Vrabel was extremely excited about getting him, especially in the 5th round. You know, we didn't think he would be there. So, yeah, another thing, he kind of just fell on the way the draft went. He was there, and I know Coach Vrabel was super excited that Goody picked him.
What do you think? I don't want to. I feel like I brought up the comparison to Devontae Adams far too much this week, and I want to do it with Vrabel later. So, what have you thought of what he's been able to do for you, especially given where you got him?
Yeah, it's been great. You know, anytime you get a 5th mid-round to later pick that comes in and ends up, you know, playing significant football for you, especially as a rookie, that's pretty significant. That's a really good pick. So what he's been able to do has been awesome for us, you know, and again, we needed that considering the experience we had at the wide receiver room, you know, and we needed some of these guys to step up, and they have. So it's been fun to watch. Like, all those guys, Wicks, Reed, you know, Malik Heath, all those guys have just done a great job just coming in, and there's been a lot of adversity, a lot of things they've had to overcome, but they're making a lot of progress, and that room, you know, is coming along really nicely.
To go back to that adversity, when you're going through that, I'm sure there was hope that they'd come out of it like this, but how realistic would that have been to you for that all happened this season?
You saw it, like, you know, in camp, you'd see the guys flash, you'd be like, okay, that's good. Now let's see if we can do that more consistently. But then once you throw them in a game environment where anything can happen, you know, you don't know how the guys are going to react. And to have all those young guys just kind of stick together and pull themselves through it, I think at the end of the day is just going to make us such a strong offense and such a strong wide receiver room in general, just to have all those guys who have been through it from the ground up. So, yeah, it's been fun to watch for sure. I think those guys are going to be a lot better for it.
I know you guys are never, ever allowed to look ahead, but do you ever find yourself scribbling down the idea of Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave playing together and.
I mean,
well,
yeah, that wasn't looking ahead. That was us 6 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago or whatever it was before he got hurt. And now, you know, the silver lining of the whole Luke Musgrave injury has been Tucker Kraft getting all these reps and all these opportunities, and he's done a phenomenal job. He really has, you know, kind of just kept giving a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more every week. And then all of a sudden, bang, Luke went down. All right, now you're the man. Let's see how you react. And he's responded very well. So I think, yes, looking at once we get those two on the field together, we'll have something pretty cool.
Beyond the experience for Rasheed Walker and the rotation at left tackle, what's taken place in his developmental growth, especially over the last few weeks? Looks like he's really on an upward trajectory right now.
He has, you know, kind of at the beginning of the year, there was always a false start penalty or some, you know, just some like mental lapse. And he's done a lot better job recently controlling those. And I think as you become a more veteran player, you just become more dialed in to the certain situations that are happening. So no, I'm fired up about Rasheed and what he's been doing on the field. He plays hard. He's got really good athleticism. All he just needs is just the game reps to go be a left tackle in the NFL.
Adam, is it your sense that under Brian Gutekunst, there's more of this, the personnel department coming to offense and saying, here's 10 players at this position, tell us what you think?
Well, I mean, for me, I've only known what we've done with Goody, so I think the communication's been really good. Obviously, they do a really good job finding people that, you know, we can use and will fit what we're looking for. So, yeah, it's been great.